Well, folks, what do you do when you have a court matter? Legal advice is not necessarily something that, not everybody knows how to navigate the court, but not everybody could afford to get the advice they need just to get the preliminary stages, to undergo the initial steps to know what to do, or at least to avoid common pitfalls. The TTPS, however, at the very least, is offering some relief with the Community Justice Clinic. It's an initiative that has been operational now for, I believe, 19 months. And, well, they're going to be going into the communities, I believe, this Saturday. So, folks, joining us, we have Michael Pierre, Senior Superintendent and Head of the Central Division, as well as Attorney at Law. Please, if I hope, Sajina Kadir.
Good job.
Folks, welcome to Talking Points.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Good morning.
So this Community Justice Clinic, could you just, I actually am not that aware of it. What is it, and to what extent, could it help the community? Like, what legal questions are you there to answer, and are there any things that you're not necessarily there to handle?
I would like to start with the genesis of the Community Justice Clinic. In October 2021, I was in charge of the community-oriented police section of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. And it was then that Ms. Kadir here approached me with an idea of bringing that free legal service to members of the public. So when she spoke to me about it, I pondered it for a bit, and I saw that it had a greater potential also as a crime-fighting tool for the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. And since under one of our pillars, community engagement, this also created that opportunity for another community engagement. The crime-fighting aspect of it is to deal with matters of domestic violence that can emanate into a criminal activity or even land disputes and such. So I jumped to the idea of the clinic. The discussion we had, we took at least a couple hours and put everything together, and within 10 days we launched the first clinic at St. Mary's Police Youth Club at St. Mary's Village, Moruga. And the clinic started at that point in time with just the police from the community-oriented police section and 6 attorneys. And that was the commencement. Persons do not have to register. You come to the clinic, and of course we are not dealing with any criminal matters because it would be a conflict of interest as it falls under the umbrella of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. And persons came, no registration, we just take the necessary information for record purposes and further evaluation, and that was the launch of it. And from then, that is October 2021, we have been consistent until this time. And this time we are starting, this is where we have Legal Access 10. And we use the Legal Access 10 as the name for this particular event, as it encompasses 10 policing divisions, Trinidad and Tobago, where each division will have a clinic on Saturday, the 29th of April, from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Ms. Kadir, you clearly saw the need for these legal clinics, hence approaching a senior superintendent Pierre with the idea. And why, especially following the COVID-19 pandemic?
Actually, it's because of COVID-19, that lockdown period, where families were constrained to stay at home. And some people use it as a vacation. They were happy, they enjoyed it. But then some families, it was so toxic. There was physical violence, there was silence in the household. There were so many issues that could have exposed persons in the household to emotional and psychological abuse and other types of abuses. And I told myself the economic reality was people couldn't afford to go to an attorney. So how could legal access be available to them at no cost to them as well, without any process of having to apply for it and wait 3 months to get an attorney like that? So that's when I approached he was head of COPS at that point, And I pitched the idea, and that's how this initiative was birthed.
What has been the reception like from the public?
Pardon?
Over the last 19 months,
Yes.
what has the reception like been from the
It
public?
has been so warmly embraced, especially by women who are victims of violence. Now, violence has no bias. It could happen to men too, but we see more women have come out. And over the 19 months, the main issue has been domestic violence, to the extent that one person in the last clinic said, this is the cry for women who need help, who can't afford the service. You know, it's been really heartwarming.
Well, so of course, when we look at the list of some of the things you all are telling people you
Yes.
could get advice on, a lot of it is domestic issues.
Yes.
That's right.
But now there was a case, we won't necessarily go into the case, but the point is over the weekend, a land dispute led to a murder. That's one of the things that your colleague, ASP Ali, he's warning people about. Be careful with these sort of civil disputes. They could lead to violence.
Yes.
Those sort of things, could people also potentially get legal advice on that at the clinic?
Yes.
And that's exactly one of the things we're talking about. And that is the crime fighting aspect of the clinic. A lot of persons who have civil disputes between themselves, they're not aware of alternatives that they can take. Now, the attorneys on this clinic provide the necessary alternatives so that persons will not take the law into their own hands. And we know for a fact that we have impacted members of the public by this clinic.
Well, as much as legal advice is being offered, in terms of the TTPS, okay, they're doing their part.
Yes.
Is it now that a lot more has to be done in other areas? For example, even though you're giving advice, is it that the systems are in place where individuals who receive such advice and want to act upon it can do so?
Do you know, I mean, we can't, because this is a like human service, right? And so many members of the public do attend these clinics, we can't just do all the matters, but we made a decision as a partnership and a team for issues of such grave and sensitive nature with children and with domestic violence. We take it all the way through court pro bono. And these are attorneys over 10 years in practice. Some are former magistrates. They give up their time. It's really probably one of the most heartwarming things I've done, to see them receive it and be so grateful.
You just said pro bono.
Yes, that's correct.
So how many attorneys had to
Right.
volunteer to get this project?
All right, so we started when I approached 5 of my colleagues who I would have interacted with over the years in practice. And then it has now grown into 50 plus attorneys around there. It's a growing initiative.
Yes, it is.
And people are calling me, attorneys are calling to say, can I just join this initiative? My means of giving back. It's really something amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now we have a second flyer that lists the locations, and Superintendent, I don't know if you just want to, there are going to be 10 clinics.
Yes.
You're going to have them all at the same time on Saturday.
Yes, simultaneously.
So they're going to have their own team at each location.
10 teams of attorneys, 10 team leads,
Yes.
and 10 simultaneous outreach walks on Wednesday to engage the members of the public, meet and greet, let them know what it is about, rather than just give out flyers and move along. Chat with them, engage them to understand that you don't necessarily have to come to an attorney's office and feel that kind of uptight feeling. It's the attorneys are coming to you in the community.
Yes.
You don't even have to, if you don't have passage to reach an attorney, we are coming to you like that.
Yes.
And Superintendent Michael Pierre, do you think that such, because you're empowering individuals, you're educating them, you're informing them, do you think that this level of empowerment is actually, are you seeing a difference in terms of crime fighting? You mentioned earlier that it helps in terms of crime fighting. Are you seeing a difference in terms of assisting the Trans-Tobago Police Service with their duties and responsibilities?
Of course. A lot of the reports that we get at stations would be with regards to domestic violence or simple disputes between families. And with the advent of the clinic, the opportunity now presents itself where persons can come and not only meet with the attorneys, but we also have police officers at the clinic. So it's a dual activity where in the event a police interaction is needed immediately, we have the police officers to deal with the matter at the same time.
One of the last things, this is a bit subjective, but it's very easy in society for people to be going through their struggles and it's like nobody cares.
That's so true.
Have you all necessarily noticed a difference when people come to these clinics and interact, get the advice, and you're going to the communities now.
Yes.
So you're showing a level of concern that some people, we take it for granted,
Yeah.
might not have experienced in their entire adult life.
Yes.
Do you see a difference in the people's demeanor and how their emotional state after coming to things like this?
I wish to share a story. This morning I went to Rituals, right?
Yes,
Just
I
when I
was
had
gonna
a
share
short break. We needed coffee and tea, right?
And you didn't bring any?
Oh, shucks, next time, promise, right? But somebody, recognized us from a different television program when we were just about to market and tell them about the clinic, because we don't need to tell somebody who could afford it. We need to tell the person on the street, right? So we had time, so we decided to tell him. He said he remembers us from a television program. And then he says, I went to the Sandy Grande clinic, while it was real nice. I'm coming back this one, I need 4 hours. That's what he said. So I was really touched because somebody out there received the help. We didn't ask him to say anything, and he gave his own sentiments. So I see it making a difference because he got the help from the attorneys at the Sandy Grande location several months ago.
So this is certainly assisting with the trust and confidence as well, that relationship between the public and the TTPS.
Well, I would love to think that, because this is a genuine effort of love. It's not about any personal benefits to us. It's about giving back to our community. And I see with your question there, the trust factor has broken down quite a lot. And people want to know that the police are there for them. And we are here in this regard and as many other regards as possible for the members of the public, because we too also are members of the public.
Well, we're almost out of time, but my last question. With regards to domestic cases, and I've always said they are difficult cases to deal with because
highly emotional as well.
But getting the information, getting the accusations to stick, the evidence is not easy because they're in private homes.
Yes.
Is this now, whether intentional or unintentional, a very good way to try to compensate for those challenges to ensure that those challenges don't derail these cases?
Yes, it is actually. We have the gender-based violence unit, and they work in harmony with the clinic, and the matters that are beforehand are dealt with differently because of the advent of the clinic as well.
Well, Ms. Kadir, it's a pleasure meeting you, and thank you very much.
Very nice meeting you guys.
Bring
Always
coffee.
great programs you all have.
Bring coffee next time.
I will.
They're supposed to bring us coffee. We're supposed to.
You all are going to get donuts too.
Oh, police food. Senior Superintendent Michael Pierre, no donuts for you. You have to continue pumping, I can see. and just remember, sir, I have to sneak it in here. We're not here to spread fear. We're here to spread information and education.
Of course, and I appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Those who know will know.